Hello, and welcome back to Mercury Messages, Messages with Mercury and beyond. Because I feel like we're going beyond that now. Mercury left its post-retrograde shadow yesterday morning, and Miss Moon moved into Sagittarius yesterday morning after the post-retrograde shadow was complete. So, did you get a message? Like, did Mercury take you on a journey? And what journey was that? Share in the comments below. I want to hear about it. I love Mercury retrogrades and the journeys that we go on and the places and spaces Mercury guides us into deeper within us and how it's unwinding things and rewiring things. So if you had a magical and if maybe not so magical experience, whatever it is, like share it because I love to hear everything Mercury and the journeys that we go on. And so I yesterday I had like a really clear like message that was coming through with Mercury, but I feel like it was even more than that. And I just felt like I just need to express this. Like there's the squares, the sun was squaring Saturn, and there's a tension that was building, and the tension's still in the air, but it's moving away from it. So it's almost like you might start getting more insights and more awareness around it. Like when it's first building, you can really feel it, like the pressure's there. And this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the stress that we feel or the pressure that we feel and the difference between stress and pressure. Because I was listening to somebody and it made sense to me. And then I was like, oh, but this makes so much sense because when we have like a lot of squares in our chart and a lot of oppositions in our chart, there's a tension there. And it's how we hold the tension. It's like, are we stressed under the tension or are we holding the tension and we're pressure, it's pressure building, but it's opening and expanding us in a way, in a different way, where we're not crumbling under the pressure, but we're actually expanding into the pressure. So there's two different, it's like a lower and then a higher um, expression or frequency of it. So I'm going to talk about that because the squares, like we have like lots of squares like throughout the year, throughout months, throughout and in our charts, when we have those squares in our charts, they're important to be able to like to know what it's like asking of us and to knowing like our past patterns and cycles and conditioning and what we normally do. So like think of like the central nervous system and if in a frenetic, like if your nervous system is normally like a frenetic energy and you when you have like stress come in, the squares come in and it feels really stressful. And you'll know it because it'll be like a fight, flight, or freeze or fawn. And it's contracting, like the stress is like actually contracting you and you're crumbling down. And it's actually causing disease in your body. Just, I mean, and think Saturn too, because Saturn is like contracting and restricting, and it's like that tension, right? But it's also, Saturn is also asking us to move beyond the limit. It's our limitations. So move beyond our limitation, move beyond the restriction, move beyond the contraction, open up. I think of Jupiter in the opening up and expanding, but Saturn isn't telling us to contract. He's actually asking us to master and move beyond the limitation and the barrier. He's showing us where it is. He's showing us exactly where our limitation and our restriction is, the boundary is, and we're being asked to move beyond it, to open up and expand and move beyond it. That's where the new frequency is. That's where the new vibration is. And we're like always here, but we're being asked to go here. And so when we are letting go of the stress, the control, I think of stress too as control. What are you trying to control? Because a lot of times, if we just let go of control, we'll notice all the stress kind of falls away. It's like, okay, I don't have to control that anymore. I can just let it go. Like, okay, I don't have to fix this or do that. I can just let it go. And notice how the stress just goes away and where you're not crumbling anymore, but you're actually like building. And I think of like a tire, like the pressure in a tire is building and building and building, but then we breathe through the building and so it can hold more. Like it can keep holding more and it keeps expanding more. It's not depleting, it's not contracting, but it's actually expanding more, right? Our fields are expanding, our auric fields are expanding, not stressing and contracting and restricting here, but moving beyond the restrictions, the contractions, opening up that space and moving beyond it. And that's what I feel like what the squares actually ask us to do is to move beyond and hold the pressure, hold that tension within us and expand more. Move beyond the limitations that you've kept yourself limited in and stuck in. So I want to talk about the squares because I had this like realization. I had a couple things come up. And it's funny because like was when you hear something, then you're like you're given some situations to see how you're going to manage. And so you can like really get the pieces of it and see where you're gonna see if you're gonna like go back under the stress of it or if you're gonna hold the tension and the pressure of it and actually grow beyond it. So I want to share a couple things because I recorded a video yesterday and then I had last night I had this whole situation come up and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta redo it. I gotta share this. And then it brought because I figured out the first through the sixth houses and like the squares of them. And then I last night like the seventh house came in too. So I'm gonna go through the first and the seventh houses. Try to do this quick, but I don't know how quick it'll be. So think about the first and the fourth house. The first house is when your soul came into this body and took its first breath. I am now, my soul lives in this body and it's breathing. That's the first house. It's you, it's your physical body, it's everything about you. It's how you look, it's how you are, it's how people see you, it's you, right? The fourth house is our home family roots and ancestral lineage, right? It's the land in which we live on, and it's the body in which the home lives. So the first house is the body in which the soul lives. The home is which the body lives in the home, but the soul lives. So it's like these layered things. The soul lives in the body lives in the home. And there's the square here, right? So it's the tension of the home from the body, from the physical self. And so if you think about like the the tension here, right? The stressors of home family roots and how like if think about your nervous system and if it was a frenetic energy or if it was a calming energy, if it was a frenetic energy and your nervous system is used to like this scattered frenetic energy and so it's always looking for the things coming into it that are going to stress it out and where it's going to go in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, right? And so our body holds, it's like stressing out. And so for me, I usually go into freeze, like my body will freeze and then it'll go up and out. And what I've been learning more and more, I've been doing this for a few years, but learning more and more where I can hold it. But then I'm like seeing where I'm not holding it and where I'm still going back into the stress response and this is what happened. I'm going to share this, but this is what happened. And it was like, oh, okay, but I don't need to go, I don't need to do that anymore. I can actually hold this. I can hold the pressure and I can grow and expand. I can move beyond it because other people's energy doesn't have to affect me. So this is like the first house, your body, and how the home, family roots are either stressing you or there's a pressure building that's actually helping you to expand and grow beyond it. And so just kind of sit with that and see how the family home roots dynamics is kind of square that and how there's a tension, but is it a stress? Are you stressing with it? Are you noticing how where your fight, flight, freeze, fawn? Or is it helping you to grow and expand beyond it? And is it like a calming, like it could have been like a really calming home environment, but there's still and where you're able to hold the pressure and be beyond it. You never had the stressors of it. You just were always able to hold the pressure and where you keep growing and expanding beyond, beyond, beyond. That's beautiful. Like most people don't have that. Most people have like the stress. And then they're learning how to break out of the stress points, and then building beyond the pressure and building into the pressure, like sitting in the pressure and breathing. Yoga has really taught me a lot about breathing and being in the body, and that's helped me to um, hold pressure in a different way. But then realizing when something comes in. So this is what happened last night. So my husband came home and we had some deliveries that I had no idea. I didn't know anything was getting delivered yesterday. And I was in my own zone, like I was doing videos and just doing my own thing. Like I wasn't on my phone, I wasn't looking at anything. I was just like in my own zone doing my own thing. And then I walked out and got the mail and walked back, didn't see anything, wasn't paying any attention. And my husband gets home and there's like boxes in front of the garage, so he can't get in the garage. He has to move stuff out and it's raining. So he's very, very irritated. He's very annoyed and very aggravated. And you can just like it's all building, right? And so he comes in and he's just mad. He's like, "You didn't see the boxes, you didn't da 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 da." Like he's just kind of freaking out. And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like what? Like what?" And I noticed myself kind of get frantic. I was like, what's going on? Because it just like totally shook me up. And I noticed where I wanted, like I was starting to like go in and I'm like, wait a second. I caught myself. I was like became very aware and I'm like, wait a second. I was like, that's not what happened. Like he's seeing it from his perspective, from his point of view, and I'm seeing it from mine. Like I didn't see the boxes. There's nothing, I didn't do anything wrong. And you can, I'm just going to give all that back to you. I'm going to give it all back to you with some love and consciousness attached. And I'm not going to take it in and I'm not going to take it on. I'm empathic. Like I'm very sensitive to energy, but I'm realizing it's my superpower. I feel so much, and it's a superpower to feel so much. And it's also a superpower to be able to say, and I'll send that back to you with love and consciousness attached, because that also gives them, it will put a new perspective into their field. Sending it back with some love with it, not just sending it back as it is, like, oh, you just sending it back with the same energy. I'm actually transmuting the energy and transcending it and sending it back with love and consciousness to it. So you can like sit with that and let it and do something with it. But I'm not going to take it and I'm not going to take it on because that's stress in my body and that's actually causes disease in my body. No, thank you. No, thank you. And so I'm learning to open up and hold the pressure and let the pressure build, but breathe through the pressure. And so I'm opening and expanding where I'm not contracting and restricting. I'm opening and expanding and I'm moving beyond the next limitation, in which before it would have taken me out, but now it's actually helping me to increase my auric field to help me expand into the being, the power and the power within me. And it's the power of the heart. It's not the ego power. It's not a pushing. It's not a forcing. The ego will push and force that power. But when we're in our hearts, it's like a soul heart-led power and it radiates out and you don't need anything else. It's like that's within you and it expands and it grows, right? And then so when something comes up and bumps up against you, you're like, wait, nope, here you go. Let me send some love back to you. I'll just send it back with love, not because it's not here. Where before, and this is kind of where the frequency comes in too, right? You're holding your frequency where the vibrations can shift and change. Like someone's vibrations coming in and it's lower, but I'm going to hold the thermostat. This is the temperature that I'm in. This is where I'm at. And wherever you're at, you're going to be at, but I'm going to hold my frequency right here. Where in the past, I would regulate with others. Like my system was regulating with others. And we are, right? When you're in the same home, you kind of are, but you've got to be able to hold your own frequency and not let anybody else's, because this is the thing, right? When we're married or we're in relationships and partnerships, just because we're doing our work doesn't mean the other person is at the same level that we are. And we can't force it and we can't make them do it, but we need to be able to hold our own frequency and be able to hold our own power within us and not crumble when things come in, when their energy comes in, it's not taking us out. We're not crumbling, we're not stressing, we're not taking their stress in and on. We're not stressing with it. We're not fight, freeze, fawn. We're not going up and out. We're not. we're holding it and we're opening and we're rising. We're moving beyond and into the next level within ourself, within our field. It's practice. Like this isn't like this has been a practice for me. And I feel like every day it's a practice. Like it's that devotion, right? It's the when we think of Saturn and we think of like the discipline of it. And I don't know if I said this because I've recorded this video a couple different times, but Saturn can be discipline, right? And when we think like Saturn, like, oh, you're being disciplined, like it's like a lower, like Saturn's pointing the finger and you're getting disciplined. It's like lessons, but we're learning, we're getting blessings through the lessons that we're learning. And it's the discipline and the devotion to the holding the power within us in a loving, kind way from our soul and leading like devotion to our soul's mission, devotion to the heart, devotion to coming deeper within the body more and more and more, devotion to sitting with ourself, that discipline to sit with myself when I'm like, okay, something's coming up and that the stress is coming up and I can feel myself kind of crumbling, but it's like, wait a second, this part doesn't want to be suppressed anymore. She's coming up to be sat with because she wants to be seen, she wants to be felt, she wants to be heard, like she just wants to be loved. It's that part of you that hasn't felt love, and she just wants to be loved. So we just get to sit with her and we get to hear her. And it's not, to me, it's like, this is like where it gets so, where we talk about the shadow and we're like, oh, it's so hard. It's not hard to sit with yourself. It's not hard to sit with that part of you that you're suppressing down. It's actually harder to keep it down, but yet it's what your body has been so conditioned to do. But in order to bring more light in, like we sit with those parts of ourselves in the shadow and the light comes in and we open up space within us and we expand and we expand and we expand. Instead of contracting and restricting and being in the stress, we're letting go of the control and we're moving up and holding attention and we're sitting with those parts as we're in breathing and loving, and we open up more love within us. And this is what I really feel like every year, like in our solar return, that we're actually being guided to do, coming more back into our soul, like solar return. Return to soul, return to the heart, letting the guard down from the heart and letting the heart open and expand. Because this is another thing. I do this every once in a while where I listen to like near-death experiences and you listen to them, and when they go to the other side, they experience this profound love, like this profound love that they've never felt before. And that's what they want there. But that's also what I feel like we came to Earth to do, is to bring more love. And then it's almost like we came here with love in us, but then through like the patterning and conditioning, it's like we lost the love and then we're like shut it down and we shut the parts of us down. And so it's like returning to that love, returning, and then even from bringing past lives into this lifetime, right? Not only in this life, but the soul came in with past life stuff. So we came in even to heal that past life that hasn't been healed in beyond. So it's not only this life, but I do believe that we bring other lifetimes with us, and like we're soul connected. And when you feel some of those soul connections, you've known them before and they're not from this lifetime, they're from previous lifetimes. Like there's like a soul thing and you can see it in charts. Like you can see it there, like, oh yeah, you have this past life connections and this and this. You can feel it, but you can also see it in the charts. That's why I love astrology. But that tension that's there in that first house, fourth house, right? And I haven't even gotten to the second and the fifth house yet. Oh dear. Second and fifth house. Second house is our I gotta sit with this for a minute. I know this. It's like interesting because I feel like I'm just going off on tangents, but I have so much to say. So the second house is our assets. It's our money, it's our resources, it's our time, energy, it's our self-value, our self-worth, our the things we possess within like our possessions. And then it squares the fifth house, which is happiness, joy, creativity, our children. It's like everything that really lights us up and excites us, right? It's that fifth house energy. It's like so fun, so alive, right? And then it squares the second house of our resources. And so I've been thinking about this, and I was at yoga. Like we had a new, no, she's not new. We had a yoga instructor come. She's from Mobile, but she moved to Las Vegas, and she did the Cirque du Soleil for a while. And then but every year she comes back for like a month and teaches yoga at the studio. And this is my first year being like with her, and she's amazing. Like Tori is absolutely amazing. Like I just felt so, I don't know, her energy just felt so good and so like she's like a free spirit and it just felt so alive. And she's doing these retreats. She's doing a retreat in July, and then she's doing teacher training with yoga in Bali in September, like a month-long teacher training in Bali. Like, can you imagine being in Bali for a month of pure bliss and like learning all the yogic philosophies? It's a 2 hour yoga teacher training, and I'm like, oh my God, that would be amazing, like, so amazing. But then I heard some other people say like, "Oh, who has the time for that? And who has the money? And who has da 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 da?" It's like all the second house. I was like, "Oh, this is that square because it's our time, our money, our resources, our energy." And then the fifth house, like, oh my God, where our bliss is, where our happiness and our joy. But then we're like saying, "Oh, well, we can't have that because there's not enough of this." But what if we did more of this and it increased this? What if when we did this, it actually opened up the prosperity channels, the energy, the time? Like, what if it all opened up? What if this actually expands this, but by us depleting this, like us saying, oh, we don't have enough of this, so we can't have this. And so we keep lowering and lowering and lowering. And it's like actually lowering our vibration because we're saying we're not enough. Like I'm not enough. I can't have that. I can't do that. There's not enough, which is saying you're not enough. I'm not enough by saying that. It's like if I really want that, if my soul is really calling that and I really feel called to go in that direction and it's gonna light me up and expand me and excite me, I know and trust that there is something more that's coming, that's meant to come through that second house that's going to expand it. Because if this expands, if my joy, happiness, if it raises my vibration, raises my frequency, it's going to raise the second house too. As long as like I'm in my enoughness, like, and my value system is like, I'm enough and I can do this and I know. So I always think of like, that was one example that I had because like what if that opens up the doorways? Like what if and it was like the starving artist, like, oh my gosh, I love the artist, but I'm starving. And it's because it's that enoughness. It's the values in us not believing that what we're doing is enough. And I want to talk about when I raise the dogs. This is like a fifth house, sixth house thing. And this third and the sixth, right? So I worked in corporate America. And then when I got my job there, while I was doing that, I started raising my little ones. And I started raising my little ones because I wanted more babies. So my little ones were always like my kids. Because if you think about the fifth house, it's your happy, joy, um, pleasure, it's our children, it's our creativity, it's all of that stuff, right? And so I always think of like when me raising my little ones was a fifth house thing because I wanted more babies. And that was my way of having more babies and bringing more love and play, fun, joy into the world. Like I had my job, but I had this joy, this passion that I was doing. And I also made money doing it, right? So it brought in a resource for that second house. But it was like what really lit me up. It was, it lit me up. And then I'm going to move into the third and sixth. The third house is our mind. It's I write, I speak, I teach. It's the movement of things. Um, it's our siblings. It's the neighborhood that we live in. And it's the energy in which we're surrounded in. It's the energy that's around us. And then the sixth house is our health. And I always think of the sixth house too as our the hard things that are worth doing, but they feel good to do. Or or it doesn't feel good to do and we're sacrificing ourselves and it's actually depleting and deteriorating our health. And it's the mind, right? And I think too the mind, like the boxes or the rooms in which the mind that are in the mind, the cages in which the mind that are in the mind that we're locking ourselves in. And when we unlock those cages and we're like it's like the matrix, right? We're breaking out of the box and we break out of the matrix and we open up and expand. And that sixth house, when we do what we love and we love what we do and it lifts us up and it's like it helps us thrive. We're like surviving, and like we're not surviving, we're thriving, where we could be very limited and surviving and feel depleted and stressed, and it causes us health and disease. Or where the mind is open and expanded, and our health is our wealth. And so our health is like we're thriving because we're doing what we love. It's the hard work that's worth doing. And there are sacrifices, but their sacrifices are worth it. And we're not sacrificing our soul to do it. We're actually, the soul is like guiding us into this work, and it lifts us up. It brings us health and wealth. The mind is like open and expanded, but in the energy in which we're in, and how it affects us. And is it stressing? Is it depleting? Um, is it causing um there's but there's a do you see the tension there? Like where the mind can like it's either helping us, it's either helping us or it's hurting us, it's hindering us. And like stress hurts us, it hinders us. But if we're holding a pressure, if there's a tension there and there's a pressure there, and we're breathing through the pressure and it's growing and building and expanding, we're not depleting, we're not contracting, we're not restricting, but we're opening more and more, there's the difference. And the story I'm going to tell you with this is with the dogs, when I was raising my little ones, like they were my babies because I wanted to bring more babies I wanted more babies. And that was my way of bringing babies into the world. Like they were my little soul companions and my little soul babies, and that I could bring love and joy into the world for others. And there was a time and for 15 years I did it. And it gave me life. It was life fulfilling. It felt so good to do. And it was hard work. There was a lot. It was like people would be like, "Oh my gosh, you're crazy!" Like if there's so much to it. There is so much to it to do it in like the best and healthiest and aligned conscious way. There's a lot to it, but it was so fulfilling. Like it was so life-giving. And then I think of too my son and my husband did junior dragster racing. It was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of hard work. It's like, but they had so much joy in it, and it was and the weekends that were away. I mean, it was just I think of those two hobbies and those two passions that we had. It was a lot of hard work that we did, but wow, it was like it lifted us up and it fulfilled us, right? You can think of it as a fifth house thing and a sixth house thing because it's the fifth house, the joy, the happiness, the pleasure that it brings, but it's also the hard work that goes into it that feels so good, that's like life-giving, and it actually you're thriving in it. Like it helps you thrive. It's not depleting. Where for some, if you like, and then I'll say this, like by the end of when I retired my breeding program, like I knew it was time because it no longer was life-giving. It no longer lifted me up and gave me life. It actually felt depleting to me. It actually felt like it was taking life from me. Because when we were in Iowa, I had a whole support system. Like I was traveling, I was doing all the things. Um, while we were while I was still raising them. But when we moved to here, I lost my whole support system. And then COVID happened, and that changed everything in my world. And like Alex was a big part of me raising my little ones. And then he went away to school, college, and it felt like, okay, well, I all my babies are raised, like my human babies are now raised, and here I am still raising babies. And it just felt like this it was time for me to complete that, but yet I held on to that so tight. Like I was holding on so tight because it was who I was. It's still who I am. It's a part of me, but I could feel myself just holding on to it and not letting it go. and how much stress it was causing in my life, how much like I was really contracting and restricting myself and I wasn't letting it go. But I could also feel my health depleting and I could see things coming in and where it was stressing me out so much that it was actually going to start causing disease in my body and it would probably wind up killing me. I'd probably wind up dying if I kept doing it because it would have brought in a lot more disease, like stress and disease within me. And that's the thing, right? It's like when we're stressed out, when we're not in the life-giving energy, the life force, we're actually depleting and dying. We're actually the stressors are causing disease in our bodies. So that's the third house, sixth house in the mind, the health of the mind and the environment in which we're in. And I remember when I first started raising my little ones too, like and now like looking back, it's like really easy to see the different things, right? Like I remember being in the breeding world and I was like, gosh, it's so toxic. Like being with certain people, it's like it's so toxic. Like it's like a toxic web and and in a way, that's just the breeding world is just a reflection of the world in which we live in, the whole world in which we live in. But the breeding world in which I was in was a reflection of my inner world. It was toxic. Like there was a lot of toxic things, like working in corporate America and just the things that were going on within my life. I could see the toxic, but it was like showing me, it was like the mirror to show me that. And it wasn't until later that I would actually see that. But I remember saying, like, it's so toxic and I'm going to change the breeding world. I was like, I was going to change this. And that's what led me on my healing journey, sixth house healing, because I realized too, you don't heal the world. You can't change the world. Everything changes by the personal journey within you. You change you, and that changes the world. You heal you, and that helps heal the world. We're not here to save the world. We're not here to save anyone. We're here to save ourselves by healing, doing that deep work and healing ourselves. And that is what radiates out in how we each heal. When we each heal, that's how we change and heal the world. And so that's the journey, right? And so, um, and then the fourth house, seventh house was my big insight with my husband coming home and like having a whole thing. But another thing was like, I know his chart and he's got Uranus going over his moon right now. So there's a lot of destabilizing energy and a lot of erratic stuff. And I know it's like awakening things within him. And I can't take it personal. This is the whole thing. We can't take what's going on with other people. We can't take it personal, even though they're so close to us. It's like, oh, okay, I see you're upset but that's not my reality. That's not how it was. It's not but I see how you see this. I see your perception, your perspective of it, but that's not my reality. And I'm going to hold strong within me. So the fourth house, seventh house, but then it's like a big T square, right? That tension of the first house, me, my physical body, seven, my partner, and then the T square in the fourth house, like the disruption in the home, the disruption of the body is like coming in and like this activating these points. But those activating in those points was actually to help me hold my frequency. Was like, okay, well, will she like go into flight and freeze and fight? Will she crumble? Will she be stressed out and crumble down? Or is she gonna hold the frequency and and expand and go beyond it? And it was like I noticed myself like going down, but then it's like, wait a second, this is the test. Like this is the mastery, right? Saturn's asking me to master this and to like he's testing me to see if I'm mastering this yet. And so I'm like moving into this mastery of like holding the pressure and breathing but I'm holding it and then that way I'm actually expanding my auric field, my whole field around me and going deeper within my heart and saying love and compassion, sending it all back. I'm not taking it in, not taking it on. And so that's the journey, right? But it's also a very it's a discipline. Like we have to be, and I don't like that word. I can't say that I love that word. It's the devotion and the discipline and the practice of being so aware and conscious of everything that's coming and being able to like, okay, am I stressing? Is this stress or is this like expanding? And am I holding the pressure? And how am I holding the pressure? And so, yeah, and I had another thing that came up for me, and it was I'm in my first house year, and I'm in my 10th house month. And I had a whole journey going through it because it was like, oh, okay. I had like a bunch of stuff coming up over this weekend, and then I actually applied for a job. I haven't worked in corporate America for 10 years, and I actually applied for a job, and I was like, oh my God. But it brought up so much stuff. Like it didn't at the moment, but then when I was going through it, I was like, oh, okay. And so I like realized like it helped me get really clear on my time, money, energy, um, resources, right? Like where I'm spending my time, who I'm spending my time with, and all of that stuff, right? Second house. And then where I wasn't so clear on it before, where I was kind of just like in these places and spaces and I was just kind of doing it all and doing all the things. But if I were to get a job, it would change everything. So even if I don't get a job, it should change everything. Because if I had that job, where would I spend my time and who would I spend it with and what are the things I would be doing? And even if I don't have that job, who am I spending my time with? What are the things that I'm doing? And all of that. It's the same, but it brought a lot of clarity in. And then when I was going to yoga, it was like, okay, well, if I get a job, I want it to feel like I love driving to my job. Like, oh my God, just I love my journey going to my job. And when I get to my job, like I want it to feel like yoga, like, oh my gosh, I love the environment and I love the people. Like they are so uplifting and so like it's like life fulfilling. That's what I want it to feel like. If I were to get a job, this is what it needs to feel like. This is the energy in which it needs to feel. Where I am, and then I thought, oh yeah, and I can give love. Like I can touch and give out love, like love leadership, right? It's kind of what I'm feeling is like if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do like love leadership and I'm gonna bring everybody together and we're gonna and everything we touch, it's gonna send out love. And so that was kind of the energy in which I was. And then I realized too, like yesterday I did a video and what came through, it was like this was what my soul was guiding me to do. Because I was like, what? Like that just came out of me. And it's like the job is like the ego, but what was coming through me was actually where my soul is guiding me to go. And it's actually to do the solar return and the whole year-long journey because I like every year we're moving into a different area, but every year we're being asked to come like return to soul and come deeper and deeper within our hearts and open and expand our hearts and live from our hearts. That's what changes the world. Is us doing our healing, coming in deeper and deeper to our hearts, deeper and deeper into our bodies, not out here, but actually coming down into these physical beings where our souls live and living in and from expanding and growing our hearts. And that's where every year we're like guided on a journey and the Mercury retrogrades go play all into that. And I just keep getting these deeper and deeper layers of it. And I was like, oh yeah, and there's 12 pillars and there's 12 months and we have the moon cycles and and it's just like all coming in. It's like all just, it's like this download coming in. And I'm like, okay, so this is where soul is guiding me to go. And it's like believing in myself, having the faith within myself. Like I can hold, like I now feel like I have the space within me to hold the container. Where before it felt wobbly. I felt shaky. I felt like I was gonna like I was still under stress, holding a lot of stress where I was crumbling. And now I'm like, oh, I'm mastering this though. And now I actually have the container in which me to hold it. And I can hold other people's, like hold the energy of others in this container where it can grow and expand. And so that's the 10th house, right? It's like, so I have these like ego things where I'm like, oh, applying for a job. But then where the soul is guiding me to go to actually bring my work out into the world in a new and different, better way, or just a new way, right? And the way that's always been in me, but I'm holding the container in a new and different way, in a very powerful way. It's like that whole, like this journey of Mercury Mysteries led me on the Panther pathway. And it was the power within me, like coming back and holding, like returning, reclaim your power, but the power of the heart, not ego power, but the power of the heart and holding that container, holding that space within you, that power within you, where it radiates out, everything expands and grows. And that's the square, the tension, the stress, the pressure. And are we crumbling? Are we holding the pressure? Are we and breathing through it? Like where it's like releasing the valve here, like, it's like we're holding the pressure, but it's like, and it's expanding as we're breathing and expanding as we're breathing, right? It's like this, the pressure, like the pressure valve that we're releasing, but also like holding within us. So, anyways, that's a long-winded thing on a lot, right? The squares in the charts for the first through the seventh house, and then the pressure versus stress and what we're holding. Are we crumbling or are we expanding? And just a little bit about my journey and my experiences and how each of them, how it all came to be alive within me and how I brought it forward. So with that, I'm going to sign off and I will be back when I have more to share.